Hello lovelies, my name is Heather from Happy by Heather, and I'm going to show you how to do these beautiful built-in driftwood frames today. So let's get started. For this craft, you're going to need a lot of hot glue, cutting shears or pliers, some tweezers for your smaller bits, some driftwood or branches, and I have a little mason jar full of my smaller bits. Makes it easier later. And safety first. Always wear gloves because it doesn't hurt at first, but this will blister your hands real quick. Your first 4 sticks that you attach to the canvas are the most important. They will kind of set the shape for your frame. The top branch should always be a little bit bigger than the rest because we're going to be attaching a wall hanging kit to the back of it later. And it's going to have something to hang on to. You'll notice that I'm not cutting the sticks at a straight angle, at least not the first 4. That's because they're corner pieces and I don't want them to overlap. I want them to fit together like a puzzle. You'll find that the majority of this project is much more like a puzzle than arts and crafts. You're trying to fit together pieces of driftwood or branches that weren't actually grown to fit together. You kind of got to make it work. You'll also notice me use a carpentry pencil sometimes to draw where I'd like the branch to end. You don't really have to do this, but for those trickier places, it's easier than trying to eyeball it. With each piece of driftwood that you attach, pay close attention to where the branch actually touches the canvas. That's where you're going to want to put the hot glue, because it's not going to help you to put it in an empty space. Kind of like that giant gap I just noticed. But don't worry about leaving gaps between your branches and the canvas right away. We're going to fill them in as we go along. And lovelies, I realize that this is only like a 4-minute video right now, but it's been edited. I've made mistakes along the way, probably just like you will as you attempt this project for the first time. It also takes a lot longer than 4 minutes to make this, so realize that you're not working with perfectly straight materials. Organic materials like branches and tree limbs, they're curved and knotty and twisted, and you kind of got to make those curves and knots fit together in unpredictable ways. That's why these frames never come out straight. They always have like a little bit of curve, a little bit of imperfection to them. And I think that that's what makes them so cool in the end. At this point, I'm gonna start filling in those gaps I told you not to worry about initially. I'm going to look for the bigger gaps, the gaps that I can see light or the canvas through. If it's big enough to see the canvas, then it's big enough to catch somebody's eye. So I make sure I put a smaller bit or I adjust my design accordingly. But if the gap is small enough, work smarter, not harder. Just put some hot glue in it and smooth it out. Why would I need to smooth my hot glue, do you ask? I'll tell you. It's because sometimes when you use hot glue and you don't have even pressure on the glue gun, you'll get these weird textures, these bubbles left behind. And I'm not a huge fan of that added texture. So what I do, while the glue is still hot and I have my gloves on, I will take my fingertip and run it along the top of the driftwood branches and where they touch. This will smooth the transition between both branches and it'll save you time later from having to remove that texture. Then I'm going to do my final pass. Look for any minuscule holes left in the hot glue, fill those in, and wait for it to finish cooling off. Once it's cooled, I'll go over all of it with an old toothbrush to get off any of the little spiderweb things left from the hot glue, and also going over it with a brush will kind of mattify that glue, make it less shiny, and that's kind of nice to have less of a contrast between your wood and your glue. This is my magically cleaned workspace, and now we're going to do the final thing, attach the wall hanging kit to the back of the frame. There you have it, your finished driftwood frame. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. Stay crafty.